Hey Bookish Babes, and welcome to day 7 of the 12 Days of Bookmas. For those that are new around here, my name's Rainy. I read all different types of books across all different types of genres. So if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe down to my channel below. It really helps my channel grow. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my most anticipated releases that are happening in Q1 and some that are happening in December because we're still in December. And so I figured I would share just for Q1. I don't want to share for the whole year all in one time anymore because I think it's easier to keep track month to month. So we're going to talk about January, February, and March releases that are on my radar. Some that I'm definitely going to hit. Some that I just want to be aware of because some of them involve series, and so I don't want to get too far behind in these series. So I want to catch up as quickly as possible. And so yeah, I'm just going to share them, share when they're releasing, and I might not say a description for all of them or explain all of them because otherwise we're going to be here a hot minute, you know? Okay. So if you're with me, let's dive right in. Well, the first one that I'm interested in checking out is The Engagement Party by Darby Kane, which comes out on the 5th, so it already has come out. It came out recently. And all I've heard is that it is a mix between And Then There Were None and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I love I Know What You Did Last Summer, and And Then There Were None I can appreciate for what it did. And so I don't really need to know a lot more than that. I've never read a Darby Kane before. I do have The Last Invitation from her. I was thinking of doing an author taste test on her maybe in 2024 because I definitely am intrigued by her. Neva absolutely loves her, swears by her for thrillery stuff. So I'm definitely intrigued by her. But yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that one out soon. Another that we definitely need to check out is Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman. That came out on the 7th. I have not read Volume 4 yet. In fact, I don't own Volume 4 yet. So I need to get Volumes 4 and 5 so that I can be caught up on this cute, adorable little series. I believe there are going to be 6 volumes total, and I love Heartstopper. The show is beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful. And so I'm definitely interested in reading up to Volume 5. Next one is the last book in the Eden series by Daphne Perry, and that is Sable Peak, and that came out on the 7th as well. I actually saw that in Books A Million today, which I was really impressed by. A lot of indie authors are getting their books in Barnes & Noble and Books A Million and stuff. And I know that this one follows Mateo. Honestly, I don't remember which brother or cousin or whoever this is in this book because there were so many of them introduced in the first book. I kind of need to go back and look at a family tree. But I really enjoyed Indigo Ridge, and so I have the rest of the series except for the one that came out right before this, Crimson Tide or something. And so I want to read all of these, and hopefully I'm going to get to all of these in 2024. The one that I'm most excited for that comes out on the 26th, I cannot actually talk about right now because of the whole St. Martin's boycott. If you don't know about any of that information, I will link to some information down below. But basically, there was an employee that is employed by St. Martin's Press, and they said some pretty racist comments, and they have not apologized for it, and St. Martin's hasn't apologized for it, and so there's a huge boycott going on against all the books that are associated with that. And unfortunately, one of my favorite books of the year that's coming out is one of those. And so I'm going to read it. I'm just not going to mention it. And so I'm just going to call it The Book About the Gods. If you know, you know. But the sequel comes out on the 26th. I got a signed edition by the author, and it's coming with a personalized picture of the main couple. And I'm just so excited. I've been waiting all year for this, it seems because I absolutely loved book number 1. So super excited for that. Okay, now we're going to move into the books that are actually coming out in January. And the first one that at least is on my radar so that I know that the series is finished, even though I haven't read any of them, is The Atlas Complex by Olivia Blake. And that comes out on the 9th. And I have not read The Atlas 6, and I haven't read The Atlas Paradox. I haven't read any of them, okay? But I want this to be the year that I do that because I know that Brittany and Kelsey really liked the first book. They didn't so much like the second book, and so I think they're going to do the third book just to see if they ended up liking the series as a whole or not. But I've been intrigued by this the whole time. I've heard that she writes really well, and so I definitely do want to check this out at some point. The next book we have is the sequel to Emile Wilde, and it is Emile Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. It comes out on the 16th, and I just bought the first book, and I haven't read it yet. I'm definitely intrigued by it. I wanted to check it out sooner than later, and so I figured this would be the year that I could do that. I've heard nothing but fabulous stuff about this book and how it's a cozy fantasy romance, which, as we know, I'm not a big cozy fantasy girly. But if it has a little bit of a romance in there, I think that is the thing that could do it for me. So I'm very interested in checking this out. Unfortunately, I probably won't read this until the end of the year because I need the paperback version, unless I just sell my paperback version of the first one. But it took literally almost all year for it to be released. However, Books and Lawless book club that I'm in for her membership is reading this in the spring, so I might need to bump it up the TBR sooner than later. We'll see. One that I'm interested in reading is a thriller, and it is Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham, and it comes out on the 16th. I did read A Flicker in the Dark, gave it 5 stars, absolutely loved it. it was just a fun, good time, like thoughts empty or no thoughts, head empty book. And I have not read her other one because it had to do with a baby being taken out of their crib, and with me having a baby that's in a crib, I just didn't feel like I was in a place to read that right now. I'll read it at some other point. But this one sounded really good. And all I know about this is that there is a fraternity boy that's been brutally murdered. There's a girl that's missing, and I don't know much else other than that, but like the cover looks really cool. I'm hoping to read this year and read the other book and then catch up on all of Stacey Willingham's stuff, but I think she writes really easily digestible thrillers. This one I'm super excited for. It's probably one of my most anticipated reads of the year, even with his second book being such a flop for me. And that is The Fury by Alex Michaelides, which comes out on the 16th. I loved The Silent Patient. That's my favorite thriller ever. That is like my favorite thriller ever. Like, I still can remember exactly where I was sitting and what I was wearing and what I was doing when I read that plot twist, and I was shooketh, okay? Now, is it like the best plot twist ever? I mean, honestly, I kind of think it is. I was not expecting it. I was here for it, okay? However, The Maidens stunk hard. It was so bad. The ending was catastrophic, awful, awful. And so I just wonder, how did the man who wrote The Silent Patient write The Maidens? And so then my question is, okay, well, is The Fury going to be good? And I've heard from a lot of people that it was a step up from The Maidens, so I'm really, really, really hoping that I love it. And I'm going in empty. I don't know nothing about this book or this plot. Another one that I'm really intrigued in reading is The Breakup Tour by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca or something like that. And that comes out on the 23rd. And I read The Roughest Draft by them. That was one of my favorite romances in the year that I read it in. I didn't read their other book yet. I can't remember what it's called. They're all second chance romances, but I haven't read it yet because a lot of people absolutely hated it for Rom-Comathon, and so I don't know if I'm going to get to it at some point. But I do want to read The Breakup Tour because it looked really interesting, because it's about musicians. Obviously, I'm a musician, and I don't know, those sort of books always just speak to me. So I'm hoping to give them a second try, because I do think they know how to write really good romances. The next book that I already actually have in my hands because it's Book of the Month, but it does come out on the 23rd, is No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. And I did read their other book, What Lies in the Woods, and I gave that, I think, like a 2.5 or a 3-star, just because they basically just exactly stole this very specific case that's like popular, and I'm not going to say which case it is in case you haven't read it yet, and so I'm not sure if they're going to do the same thing in this, but this just says 3 sisters, 2 murders, and too many secrets to count. I'm sure this is not going to be like a crazy thriller, but I am intrigued in it, and I did enjoy the other one, even though it was literally just like a copy paste of that book. But yeah, we're going to definitely give this a whirl. And then the next book that we have, I know I'm not going to get to in January, okay, because I have a couple of books that I've got to read before I get to this bad boy. But I have pre-ordered it. I'm excited to get it. And that is House of Flame and Shadow by Miss Sarah J. Maas. I know all the girlies have been waiting for this book to come out for forever, okay? I haven't even read House of Sky and Breath yet, okay? But I have had it spoiled for me. Very sad day. But I feel like I want to finish reading Throne of Glass and ACOTAR before I continue on with Crescent City. I've heard that's the best way to do it. And I'm only on book 2 of Throne of Glass. And I'm only on book 2 of ACOTAR. So I have like, I don't know, like 10 or 11 books to read before I get to this. I don't know, guys, but this could be the year of Sarah J. Maas, okay? This could be my year. Now, another one that comes out on the 30th, which honestly is one of my most anticipated books of the year just because of how much I loved House of Hollow, is The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. Do I know anything about this book? No. Does the cover speak to me? Yes. Do I want to read it because I absolutely loved House of Hollow and I did not think I was going to? Yes, like I honestly was very surprised at how much I enjoyed that book. And so I'm so excited to get to this one. And apparently it's a darkly seductive witchy thriller where though both men and demons lurk in shadows, girls refuse to go quietly into the night. I don't know much more than that because I don't want to read this entire thing, but I honestly am so excited for this. Like, I'm going to read it on opening day, okay? I'm going to read it when it comes out because I need to know if she's going to be an author for me because I just loved House of Hollow so much. Like, I still think about that book every day. We are moving on to February, and the first book that is going to come out that I'm kind of interested in is Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which comes out on the 6th. I know, Miss Hazelwood keeps popping out keeps popping out romances, I feel like every 5 seconds, and they're all the same, like they're all the same, like Little Woman, Big Man. Apparently this is the same, Little Woman, Big Werewolf, or something. And Bree and Brittany have already both read this and said that it absolutely is awful. And so I just kind of need to know. And there's something where the woman doesn't know the difference between like a spoon and a spatula or something. I don't really know. A ladle and a spatula, something. There is something that is stupid that is in this book. And so I just kind of have to figure out for myself. I know they warned me against it, but I'm just gonna go for it. Next one that I don't know anything about, but I absolutely loved 7 Days in June, and so I definitely want to continue reading romances that they've written, is A Love Song for Ricke Wilde by Tia Williams, and that also comes out on the 6th. I mean, the cover itself is beautiful. Do I know anything about the plot of this? No. But I loved 7 Days in June. It was one of my favorite romances in the year that I read it. It was just so beautiful and well crafted, and she did such a great job of displaying chronic pain and like talking about it in the book. And so I'm very intrigued to see where she's going to go next with her next one. So I'm going to read it at some point. Another one that I'm super excited to read because I loved A Dowry of Blood so much, and this is either a prequel or a sequel to this, is an Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson, and it does come out on the 13th of February, and all I know is that it says, deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts is St. Perpetua's College. Isolated and ancient, it's not a place for timid girls. Here secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. On her first day of class, Laura Sheridan is thrust into an intense academic rivalry with the beautiful and enigmatic Carmilla. Together they're drawn into the confidence of their demanding poetry professor De La Fontaine, who holds her own dark obsession with Camilla, but as their rivalry blossoms into something far more dangerous, Laura must confront her own strange hungers. Tangled in a sinister game of politics, bloodthirsty professors, and dark magic, Laura and Carmilla must decide how much they are willing to sacrifice in their ruthless pursuit of knowledge. I am super excited for this. And I love that some of the characters from Dowry of Blood are going to be in this, so I'm probably going to have to reread Dowry of Blood, which I absolutely loved, although I only gave it a 4-star, and the more I think about it, I feel like I need to reread it again, because maybe I didn't read it at the right time. I feel like it could be a 5-star if I wanted it to be, but I'm definitely interested in this one. One that I'm beyond excited for, which means I really need to catch up before this book comes out, is the final book in Magnolia Parks in the Dark, BJ and Magnolia's story by Jessa Hastings. It comes out on the 13th. I still need to read the last book of Magnolia. I need to read Magnolia Parks A Long Way Home and Daisy Hates the Great Undoing before I can read that and be completely finished with Magnolia and BJ's story, which makes me want to cry the more that I think of how. But I love that series, okay? Are they toxic? Yes. Are they good for you romances? No. Are they closed door? Yes. But they are just so good, okay? You really bond with these characters. You really do. So I need to know what's going to happen to Magnolia and BJ. I need to know what the weather is like. This one I'm really interested in is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, which comes out on February 27th. I do not know anything about this. I don't know if you have to have read her Bridge Kingdom books. I don't know if this is a standalone, if this is a series. Honestly, I didn't do much research into this. I just really liked the cover and it looked interesting. So I probably should do a little bit more research on it, but okay, apparently it's the beginning of a series. And I think it is a new series. And if I tried to explain what it's about, I would get really confused. So we're just gonna go with this, okay? It looks good. A fantasy romance, it looks good. And finally, we have moved on to March, and the first book that is on my radar is Expiration Dates by Rebecca Surley, which comes out on the 5th. And this one, I'm pretty sure, is about this girl named Daphne, and every time she meets a new man, she receives a slip of paper with his name and a number on it, the exact amount of time they'll be together. Okay. And then finally, the night of a blind date at her favorite Los Angeles restaurant, there's only a Jake. That's the only name on it. And so, like, they might end up being together forever. So that is quite interesting. She gets a piece of paper and she knows how long they're going to be together. One time it told her 3 days with Martin in Paris, 5 weeks with Noah in San Fran, and 3 months with Hugo, her ex-boyfriend turned best friend. That is very, very interesting. I just want to know what's going to happen in this book, okay? I'm ready to know. The next one that I'm also interested in catching up on by reading Done and Dusted is the sequel, Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage on the 5th. Done and Dusted looks like such a cute little cowboy romance, and I'm kind of in my cowgirl, like, romance era with Miss Elsie Silver and Chestnut Springs. Like, it's weird how much I love those books. And so this looks like a really good book series as well. I've seen it on Book Talk a lot, and I want to get ready for the sequel. I don't know how many books are going to be in this series, but it definitely has caught my eye for sure. The next one, I have an arc, and I've had the arc since, like, September, and my friends are all very mad at me that I have not read this yet because they don't have an arc, and the reason I got an arc is beyond crazy because I shouldn't have gotten an arc because I didn't do what they needed to do to give me an arc. And that is Finlay, Donovan Rolls the Dice by Elle Cosimano, which also comes out on the 5th. And I'm going to read this soon, okay? I want to be able to say that I read it way before everybody else. I cannot tell you what it's about because it's the 4th book in a series. Let's just say I hope it goes better than the 3rd one because the 3rd one was just filler and crap, and honestly, a lot of people are giving up on Miss Finlay. But I am not yet. Another one that I'm very interested in is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abike Iyamide, the same person that wrote Ace of Spades, and that comes out on the 19th. I don't know anything about it. I know the cover is beautiful. I still need to read Ace of Spades. I know that a lot of people that I've heard that have gotten an ARC early for this have absolutely been loving this, and that this is another like knocked out of the park book, and so I'm very interested in reading it, but I'm going into a lot of these books blind, y'all. I'm going into a lot of these books blind. And the last one I honestly probably should not read because of how much I hated An Honest Lie, but you know, I'm gonna give her one more chance. And that is Good Have Gone by Taryn Fisher, and it comes out on the 19th. And this one apparently says, Iris Walsh saw her twin sister Piper get kidnapped, so why does no one believe her? Iris narrowly escaped her pretty popular twin sister's fate as a teen, kidnapped, trafficked, and long gone before the cops agreed to investigate. With no evidence to go off on but a few scattered memories, the case quickly goes cold. Now an adult, she wants one thing, proof. And if the police still won't help, she'll just have to find it her own way by interning at the isolated island hospital for the criminally insane, where secrets lurk in the shadows and are kept under lock and key. But she soon realizes that something even more sinister is simmering beneath the surface of the shoal, and that the patients aren't the only ones being observed. And this has such an interesting premise, y'all. There's no way she can F this up. There's no way. There is a way. But I really hope not, okay? I just want to read this book and enjoy it and have a good time. With that, friends, that is all of the books that I am most anticipating for from now until March, so quarter 1. Let me know if there's any books that you're interested in that, like, are not on my radar that, like, I should know about. If you got to the end of this video, then put a little calendar emoji, like, for, I don't know, quarter 1 or something like that. And let me know what book you are most excited for, like I said. And if there's any that we share a good interest in. And with that, I will see you guys for day 8. Bye.